So, you've got a job, you're good at it, and you want to progress. How do you do it? So if you haven't seen the channel before, we do videos aimed to help employees. And as opposed to many of the channels out there that are a bit boring, a bit dull, and let's just be frank about it, a bit naff, we try to give you engaging content that's... There is a fly in here and it is really, really annoying. I don't really know how to say it. It keeps flying in front of the camera and everything. That's what it does. We try to give you engaging content that's actually going to give you the real scope of what's actually going on to benefit you. If you like this kind of stuff, do consider subscribing to the channel, and if at the end of the video you like this one, do click the like button. With that, let's get on with the video. So, you found a job you're good at, you enjoy it, and you know that you want to build a career within the sector. But you want to know and see whether there's any career hacks or anything you can do to get you to progress up that ladder as quickly as you possibly can. How do you do it? Before we get to all that though, why should you take my advice? Back in the day, I started my career out as a trainee mobile phone sales consultant. I got my first management job just 2 years in. I ran one of the biggest mobile phone stores in southern England. Then I changed career, went into recruitment and started from the bottom again. I got promoted 5 times in 3 years. I got to regional manager for Northern England for one of the largest engineering agencies in the country. And then I started my own agency, and now we have 2 offices, various business interests, and as opposed to many in our industry, we're actually expanding in the middle of a recession. Plus, my business specialism is not only recruiting people, but advising businesses on their recruitment and hiring strategies. And it's not as if I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth either. I don't come from much. I was born into a working class background. I've lived in sky-rise council flats and I've lived on budget food. To say the least, I know what it is to be very poor. No easy in, no friends in high places, no inside knowledge. Just me, a boring run-of-the-mill bald guy. I'm not particularly special, I'm not particularly gifted, I'm not particularly hugely intelligent with a massive IQ. But as they say, if I can do it, you can do it too. So, how do you get up the career ladder quickly? Firstly, you need the right mindset. Now, before we go any further and I waste your time, if you're looking for a video that's going to tell you how you can make yourself a multi-millionaire whilst putting your feet up on the sofa, then you're in the wrong place, because that's just not how it works. It takes hard work, perseverance, and an unwavering desire to be successful. Unless you have rich parents, a Cambridge degree, or you're a child prodigy, the chances are you're going to have to slug it out like the rest of us. Admittedly, I'm not much of a patriot, but for all of this country's flaws and all of the criticisms that people throw at it, this is one of the only countries in the world where genuinely anybody, if they work hard enough at something, they can make it. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be on a plate for you. If you think things are going to be brought to you, if you think someone's going to come out and help you, and you think someone's going to ride out on a white horse, knight in shining armour to give you that foot up and give you that chance, then you're sorely mistaken. No one gives it to you. I made sure in my career that I was the first one in and I was the last one out. I was prepared to work harder than anyone in there, and I didn't care how hard I had to work. I was going to make a success of myself. I was only off sick when I was actually ill. I accepted that early in my career I was never going to get anywhere unless I was willing to work my backside off. So I've developed the mindset that if I come home at night from work and I don't feel like I'm ready to drop, I have not worked hard enough. I genuinely couldn't give a damn how hard I have to work, as long as the end goal is worth the effort. Now, working hard's one thing, but don't be the busy fool that ends up working hard at the wrong things. Putting in 15-hour days only for your boss to get all of the credit is a complete waste of time. And if you think that working this hard will test your physical and your mental health, it probably will. Now, if you don't feel that putting that amount of strain on yourself is worth it, and you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's perfectly fine, and I respect that. To be honest with you, it's something that you really have to want to do, and it's not for everyone. And if it's not for you, that's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't think you have to be something that you're not, or try and show something that you're not. Main thing is, you're happy. It really isn't a lifestyle for everyone. It'll either suit you or it won't. As I say, it's something that you've really got to want to do. And this brings me on to my next point. Making the right friends. In any company, if you want to progress in that company, you need to make sure that the very people that make the decisions on who to promote like you. I've known many people that generate fantastic results, but when it comes to promotions, they're often passed over. They might be given a senior job title, but they never actually get anywhere. And the reason being they haven't made friends with the people that make the decisions on whether to promote them or not. I've also worked for people that I didn't like, but I knew that I had to make friends with them, because if I didn't make friends with them, my career wasn't going to go anywhere. Now, as guilty as I feel to admit this, it is the reality of what it's like if you want to get a career. You have to make friends with the right people that make the decisions. Even if you don't like them, and as sly and as conniving as that is, it's just how it works. As bad as it sounds, all this stuff just comes with the territory. Socialising, doing activities you don't like but your bosses do, massaging the right egos, it's just all part of it. Whilst it's important as to who you know, it's also almost equally as important as to where you choose to know them. So for example, if you work for a business which is promoting you, but you know the industry and the sector you're in is going down the toilet, it's a bit like trying to climb the mast of a sinking ship. Whenever you make a career choice, make sure you consider these three things above all else. What is your long-term goal, as in the position you want to be in and where you see yourself? Secondly, is it best to stay where you are or leave where you are? And the third thing is, if you do choose to leave, where do you go? Look, being honest with you, changing jobs isn't always the best idea, and that's coming from someone who runs a recruitment company. With each year that goes by, you should look to better yourself. That could be a promotion, but if not a promotion, that could mean opening the doors up for you to get a promotion in the following year. If you've put the groundwork in, you've got a company and you're working in a sector that's going places, and you can see that promotion is coming to you, then it's probably just best to stay where you are. But when you look at 18 months ahead and you see that there are no further progression prospects for you, then that is probably a good indicator that the time has come to move on. Be proactive, not reactive. But if you decide that the right thing to do is to move on, where should you go though? My advice is to go to the company that presents the best opportunity for you to reach your long-term goal without having to make untenable sacrifices in the process. But use your common sense with this. If you one day want to be the chief executive of a company and you consider going to a family-run company that you know has a board full of family members, unless you're a family member, the chances of you actually making it to chief executive in that company are probably unlikely. But don't necessarily write off a company just because you could not become chief executive there. If, for example, a company has a realistic and very tangible route to become a board level director, that doesn't mean that in future, once you're at the board level director there, you can't simply move to another company and come in as a board level director there. Because if that first company happens to have a very quick route to become board level director, that means you're going to have the opportunity to go for a chief executive post at a different company in the nearer future than you would do if you went to another company that's going to take a lot longer to get there. So think of the timescales and take that into account. I'd also suggest that any company you choose to work for has a good reputation within the sector that you're working in. Because if it does, it can give you an easier in at other companies that can promote you up the career ladder, because it says a gold standard name on your CV. But whatever you do, don't be that fool that changes job every year for an extra 20p an hour. Because trust me, anyone that's going to be reputable and actually get you anywhere in your career is just going to dismiss you. It really doesn't look good. You might sit there and say, oh, it adds value, it demonstrates skill. It just says to any employer, by the time I've put the investment into you, I've put the time into you, I'm never even going to make my money back. If your CV says I've had 2 jobs this year, I had 2 jobs last year, and I had 2 jobs a year before, and you wonder why nobody's giving you a call, don't be surprised. It really doesn't look great. All they're going to do with any company that has the prospects to give you a real career, do you know what they'll do with your CV? They're going to file it BIN. And this brings me on to sacrifices that you're going to need to make. Making sacrifices means putting yourself out of your comfort zone and taking calculated risks as and when you need to. If you find the right company and you make the right friends, you're going to need to be prepared to make certain sacrifices above and beyond to get where you want to go. What you put in is what you get out. If you're the kind of person that goes, well, that's not my job, I'm not doing that, or right, it's time to go now, my shift's finished, I'm off, don't expect your career to go very far. Now, if there's one sacrifice that most people really don't want to make, it's when it comes to money. But often by sacrificing the money in the short term, you can make a giant leap in the long term. And if you can afford to do it, that's often a really quick route to success, because a lot of the money that will be spent on your wages is often spent on your training, and that's the bit that can make the difference. To get my first management job, I had to get a bus at 5 a.m, a train at 6 a.m, and it cost me £400 a month in order to do so. But 1 year later, I got the big job and the big promotion that I wanted. And it would have took me years to get to that had I not made that sacrifice in the short term. The more you want something, the more you have to be prepared to give to get it. The final thing I'll say is whenever you see this stuff on social media about get rich quick schemes and you can make it, I can make it, and these are quick hacks to get there, it's all rubbish. It doesn't work that way in the real world. Typically, they're either trying to sell you something, look good for social media purposes without any credibility behind it, or they've got a rich mummy and daddy that's handed them everything on a plate and they don't even realise it. In the real world, nobody gives it to you. So look, that pretty much sums up the video. But if you've got any questions, you want to know any more, you want some tips, advice, anything, put them in the comments below. I do try to come back to everybody. If you like the video, click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to click the bell icon so you're not going to miss any one of our forthcoming videos.